Good morning to everyone. This morning I have great news to tell you, and that is I have Drishat Shalom, regards from Ramat Bet Shemesh. I just came from Shul, and to the right was someone who lives next to Rabbi Pharaoh, and to the left was a dentist who davens Rabbi David's Shul, Rabbi Melinowitz Shul. Who knows you, Moshe, and probably knows most of you guys. He's a dentist, Mr. Callis or something, Dr. Callis. So I said, this is really Mashiach's time. Here in 45 minutes, I'm going to be teaching with Chasidus from Bet Shemesh, and here, right in Shul, in Borough Park. It's amazing what air travel has done and the internet has done. It's really a Mashiach experience. So therefore, I send you Drishat Shalom from Bet Shemesh.
Thank you. Rebbe, was it Shragi?
What?
Shragi Cal? Was it Shragi?
I don't know his first name. He's a dentist. He does dentistry here.
Probably Menachem Kellis.
Yeah, I think so. I think.
Yeah, he's he just did some oral surgery on me.
Yeah, that's him.
I owe money.
I think it's good. It's good. I didn't tell him you're part of the shear.
Hey, Chris, that's good.
Okay, so let's go. We're on page 35 in Kuntris Yalashot Teres Chasidus, and the Rebbe said, "Mischara Neida Mehusa." That's not the Rebbe's quote, but he's quoting it from Chazal. From the reward, from the result, you know its essence. So, a taich that the Alter Rebbe brings in Tanya, in chapter 37 in Tanya, Schar mitzvah. The reward of a mitzvah is another mitzvah. That's the regular taich. If you ask someone in your local shul, in your local base medrash, even in Cologne, Germany, where Velvel is, what does it mean? Schar mitzvah? They'll tell you, if you do one mitzvah Velvel, you're going to get reward to do another mitzvah. Comes along, the Alter Rebbe says, that's a traditional taich, and 100% correct. But there's a deeper meaning. Schar mitzvah. You know what the reward from mitzvah is? The same mitzvah. Now, when we do the mitzvah, we're like blind bats. We have no idea what we're accomplishing. We put on tefillin with the mezuzah and Shabbos and Bikkur Chaylim and Nachdos Zarchim, and it feels good, doesn't feel good, but we don't really see it. Mashiach will come. Schar mitzvah. We will see how the mitzvah itself is the illumination. It's similar to the concept of the Hasidim of the Tzemach Tzedek. And they asked the Hasidim, what do you think will be when Mashiach comes? How will the world look like? What will be the feeling? We want to get a glimpse, a taste. So the Chassidim that Tzemach Tzedek said, when Mashiach will come, the gilui, the revelation, the novelty will be, aha! That's all you could do. Aha! The aha moment. For that I waited for Mashiach. And they explained. Now, when we learn about Radlo, Reshad Lo Yasyado, or Atzila Sobrio, Yashmiayin, Niliviolo, Mimala, and Zayviv, Ak, and Svidis, and we don't have any idea what we're talking about, when Mashiach will come, we'll say, aha, that's what it meant. Aha! Because all that is godliness of various forms of revelations. Now we're desensitized. We don't feel it and see it and smell it and all that. When Mashiach will come, the gili of Mashiach will be that we will, and then we'll say, aha, now I got it. That's the, aha, now I got it. By the way, it's brought down, the Alter Rebbe brings it also in the Geras HaKodesh, it's brought down from the Medrash, that Yaakov Avinu, around Yaakov Avinu, there was a smell of Gan Eden. Or I'll tell you even better. My father, I'm finishing now his biography, Mitzvah Shem, about his life. Mitzvah Shem will be 85 years old, so we decided we're putting out a biography about his life. He's, he was born before the Holocaust and then grew up in the Holocaust in Romania. And For years I've wanted to do it. Baruch Hashem, now the time was right. Anyway, so the concentration camp where they sent the Jews of Bukovina, which is the certain part of the lower part of the Carpathian Mountains, very actually gorgeous part with mountains and rivers. Today it's a resort area. It's called Gur Amur. My father was born in a village called Gur Hurmuli, which means the mouth of the mouth of the mountain, I think. Yeah, like the bottom of the mountain. Anyway, so they were all sent in 41, all the Yidden, to a concentration camp in a city called Shargarod. And most Yidden passed away there from typhus and starvation, and those that tried to escape the Nazis, the Germans killed them. My father and others, were the lucky ones who survived just the miraculous way. They survived. So in Shargarod, there is a shul where a Talmud with the Baal Shem Tov, Reb Yaakov Yosef, the Toldos Yaakov Yosef, the first printed Hasidic sefer, for the record, Chevra, is Toldos Yaakov Yosef. Not Noam Elimelech, not the Levi Yitzchak Barditchever, not the Tanya. The first one is Toldos Yaakov Yosef. Who was Reb Yaakov Yosef? Reb Yaakov Yosef was a student of the holy Baal Shem Tov. And he became, later, he moved to a city called Polna, so he became known as Rabbi Yaakov Yosef of Polna. But before he moved to Polna, he was a Rav in Shargarod, in the exact city, village, whatever, town, in which they had the Romanian concentration camp. And again, that wasn't a killing camp like Auschwitz and Treblinka. It was a camp where basically, because of starvation and typhus, that you died and all that. Anyway, in that shul, my father said that my grandmother, who I guess visited the shul while they were there from 41 to 45, she said that it smells like Gan Eden. And that was the talk of the Yidden. That was the talk, that he was such a big tzaddik that when you went into shul, you can smell Gan Eden. So I'm saying that, yes, Moshe.
What was the name of the town again?
Shargorod. 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 What's my point? Gabi, what we're learning here, schar mitzvah. The mitzvah itself, we all put on tefillin today, right? What was accomplished? What energy came into the world? What happens in my family life and community life because of the tefillin? I don't know. I believe in Hashem. I believe in Torah. And Hashem says, put on tefillin every day. I put on tefillin. Well, Mashiach will come. When you put on tefillin, you will see the result of tefillin that day. Because we will be on a higher conscious level of ruchnius, of spirituality. The Alter Rebbe, the Rebbe writes here in the Kuntris, if we want to have a better understanding of what Teiras HaChasidus is, of what the Mohus of Chasidus is, the essence of Chasidus, let's look at the result of Chasidus. What's the result of Chasidus? The teachings of Mashiach. If anyone thinks Mashiach is just going to teach us again Shor Shenogech HaSapara, or Hamachlef Para B'Chamor, or the Elam Etzia Shaloi, and the same piece of Tanya, and the same Maimer, you're making a mistake. No. We're not. That we have today. Mashiach will come. The Teiras HaMashiach will be in Pnimius HaTeira, and we will feel what we're talking about. We will see what we're talking about. It'll be just as tangible as this cup I'm holding in my hand with water inside it. That's how real it'll be. So that's why the Rebbe now is continuing his thesis, his idea, to understand what Mashiach is. And the better you understand about Mashiach, the better you'll understand what the Torah that brings to Mashiach is about, Chasidus. So let's continue now on 35, second paragraph. See what he says about Mashiach. Bebias HaMashiach Yischatshu Kama V'Kama Inyonim Nailim. When Mashiach will arrive, there will be Yischatshu Isser, there will be a Chidush, a novelty. Many things, elevated, exalted things, great things. Ukemoi, for example. Geulas Yisrael v'hashchina me'agolus. The redemption of Israel, of Yidden, and in the parentheses, and the Shechina, and divine presence, which is in Golus, from Golus, Meha Golus. Right? We are now Avdik Akate Avdid Achashverosh, and the Gemara says, even after Purim, we're still slaves to Achashverosh. Even after having Eretz Yisrael, and it's Gevaldik. It's still not Geula. What will Mashiach do? One of the things he'll do is he'll redeem us from Golus. L'mayla mazeh, greater than this accomplishment, quote, it's from the Rambam, Yu Yisrael Chachomim Gedolim. The Yidden will be very wise, great Chachomim. The Yodim and knowledgeable, they'll know the Yodim Dvorim Astumim, knowing the secrets, Astumim, the things that were closed and esoteric and secretive and cryptic, will be Yodim, they'll know. V'yasigu, and they'll perceive and understand Das Boiram, the mind of the Creator. Could you imagine? We'll understand Das Boiram. In other words, we'll understand how God works. Right now, right? Everyone, we have questions, Yonason. Why this? Why that? Right? Right? Someone says to me in shul, be well. Have a refuah shleim. Why? I don't know why. Hashem wants me now to be with this. Ask Hashem, Das Boiram. When Mashiach will come, the Yasigu Das Boiram. We will understand exactly what God has in mind with everything He does to us and to creation. I won't have any questions. Malki Mola Ha'aretz Deus Hashem. How will we come to perceive God? Says the Rambam, quoting the pasuk, because Kimola Ha'aretz, because the earth would be filled Deus Hashem, with the knowledge of God. In other words, things that are all around us, Hillel, and we relate to. We see them, we feel them, we touch them, we talk about them. It's clear. What today is not clear? Ruchnius. Ruchnius isn't clear. It's a nice wannabe. It makes us feel good certain times, but we can't say we know Ruchnius. Tzaddikim know Ruchnius because God has blessed them and they've refined themselves enough. But the average person is not Deus Hashem in the simple way. When Mashiach will come, Mola Ha'aretz, Avram, it says Mola Ha'aretz, the entire earth will be rampant, full of Deus Hashem. In other words, now you walk down Dolev and you see cars and you see a bus stop and you see going into the Makolet and you see people coming out of the building. That's what's Mullah, that's what fills our minds. Yeah, once in a while you have someone walking and saying Torah and thinking Torah and talking Torah. But Mullah, right? Could you imagine walking down Dolev and the same Dolev and all your mind sees and feels and thinks about is Deus Hashem. The famous saying, Chevre, I don't know if you remember this. What was the Mittler Rebbe, the second Lubavitcher Rebbe's greatest wish? Let's go. I want to hear from Viester, from Velvel. You remember the quote of the Mittler Rebbe? What did he want when two Chasidim, when two Yidden meet each other? What did the Mittler Rebbe say? Velvel, you there? You're sitting back. You remember or not? Okay.
They discussed Chasidus.
Right, but the way he said it was, he wishes they will speak about Yehuda Ilah. Yehuda Ilah, it means the higher level, the supernal level of Yichud, of unity between God. In other words, between Hashem and the world. It's called Yehuda Ilah. So the Mittler Rebbe said, what does he want of his Chassidim? That when they meet each other on the street, it shouldn't be like O. Henry meeting his friend over there 20 years later and talking about what they did at Ebbets Field 20 years ago with the Brooklyn Dodgers against the New York Yankees. He wants them to speak about God, Hashem, Yehudi Ilah. That was his wish. that was the Mittler Rebbe. That's what he was, full of Chasidus. So what does he wish? Chasidus. When Mashiach will come, it will be that way. Because Malach Ha'aretz Deis Hashem. The knowledge of God will permeate the entire world. So all we'll be experiencing and talking about and interested in is Deis Hashem. It's again hard to imagine because now everything else interests us, and this is the last on the totem pole. God, Ruchnius. Once in a while you give a kvetch, you say, when was the last time I thought about Hashem? Really? When? It's too long. It's been too long. It's time to check in again. And I'm talking about from people, us from people. We're talking about really, like, waking up and saying, when did I exert myself to feel love and awe for God, that it's in my bones, that I start shaking from fear and awe, or I start quelling from love. It doesn't happen daily. I don't care how much Torah you learn. It doesn't happen daily. And it's not about someone making a YouTube and saying, I'm going to drink a cold beer, a rush beer, whatever, with a Gemara that became viral a few weeks ago. I mean, that's very, very, that's what Isser said yesterday.
Rishus seltzer.
Rishus. So Rishus seltzer. Rishus cold seltzer. Yeah, so that is, that to me is like what you implied with the neo-Hasidism. Taking the scotch and the drink and all that. It's good to learn. It's good to be excited. We're talking about you don't need the whole idea. I don't go on a tangent. The whole idea of learning and davening and the Gashmias should be just as geschmack from a Chabad perspective. I better say from a Hasidic perspective, from a Baal Shem Tov perspective, is disgusting. Very disgusting. Not that you shouldn't have a beer, but if that beer becomes the impetus for your learning, it's sad. Again, I'm not saying we don't need this today too. You see, that's what I was telling you yesterday, yes, sir. We live in a world where we need that as well. But when we're really focusing on where the emes is, I agree with this, sir. That's not where it's at. So here, when we talk about Kimala Ha'aretz Deis Hashem, we don't mean Kimala Ha'aretz Deis Hashem in a way that will live. There's an expression in Yiddish. It's not such a nice expression, but it's important to know because you need to know it at least once in your life. Leben achazer she'tog. Did you ever hear that? To live a pig's day. In English, it doesn't go well. A pig, a chazer. A chazer for us is disgusting. Treif. So the expression in Yiddish is that when someone is grub and is like a behemoth and an indulging at a lept a chazer shetug. He lives like a pig. He indulges like a pig. A chazer shetug. Mashiach's time will not be living like a chazer shetug. And the Rambam writes, that Medonimun, that everything will be found, and the delicacies. But what does the Rambam write? It'll be ka'ofar. In other words, the Rambam himself teaches us that yes, we'll have all the Gashmias, but the Gashmias will be ka'ofar, meaning to say, big deal. Not that I'm making a big deal of a Rishus beer, or a Thursday night chont, or a good cup of Glenlivet. No, that's a big mistake. What will be be'ikr is Deus Hashem, knowledge of God. That will be the driving force. Let's continue. That's number 2. So, right, the Rebbe enumerates, based on the Rambam, the accomplishments of Mashiach. Number 1, Geula from Golus. Number 2, greater. You see, he says greater will be Deus Hashem. Yaini, why is that greater? Because Geula means we're free. We're not imprisoned by the Goyim, the non-Jews, and everything else. Fine, but that's just a bodily thing. Deus Hashem is even greater. Number 3, L'mayla mezeh, even above this, Shinui v'chidush b'maaseh bereshis, a change and a novelty and a chidush in the act, in the works of creation. V'gor zev in kevis, the lamb will lie with the lion and all of that. How could that be? They just had, I think I saw a clip of a gorilla chasing either a lion or some kind of, had it online in a certain national park. The tendency is that one animal, or whatever that animal, says, you don't come here, I don't care, I'm gonna kill you. And you see him actually chasing, and the lion, I don't know if it was a lion, it seemed like, is running away. Or a leopard, whatever. The point is that that's normal. What's a shinui? The Rambam says the shinui will be that if Go'or 7 kevis, right? The wolf will be with the kevis, with the sheep. Normally a wolf wants to eat the sheep. The chidush will be here. So that's why he writes here, shinui v'chidush b'maaseh bereshis. Let's go to 37. Yes.
Are those words the words of the Rambam or the words of the Rebbe? Shinui v'chidush b'maaseh bereshis.
That's the words of the Rambam. The words of the Rambam. Hold on, let me see over here. 37.
It's not clear from the quotations in the text.
Yes. Give me a second. I just want to make sure I told you the right answer. Where is it over here? Yes, from the Rambam. Okay, top of 37. In parentheses, this is a kind of a rhetorical question and a response. And the fact that what? That it says that there's the only difference between the Mashiach days and now is Shibud Malchus, which means the servitude to foreign powers that today we're under their rulership, and then we won't be. So seemingly, this Chazal contradicts what we said earlier. Hurat batchilas hazman shel Yemei Mashiach. That's only the initial stage of Mashiach. But the second stage, final stage, there will be much more than the abolishment of servitude to the enemy, or to the government, to the secular government. Then there'll also be a change in the Bria, in the creation. More specifically based on what's written in the Zohar HaKodesh, in the section called Raya Mehemna, Shemaimer Zeh Nema B'negei L'Ami Ha'oretz. Rav Shimon, in the Zohar HaKodesh, says an amazing thing. He says there that this statement is only regarding the ignoramuses, the Ami Ha'oretz. Mashenki B'negei L'Talmidei Chachamim, but not regarding the learned in Torah. Give me a second. Footnote 39. Where is that footnote? It's a long footnote. No. Yeah, in other words, like this. That the Zohar explains. The Zohar explains that the difference between the two only applies to the ignoramuses, to the Amei Haaretz. But the Talmidei Chachamim, there won't be this difference, and they'll experience the issue even at the first stage. Who will have to wait for the second stage of Mashiach? I think this is the meaning of the second stage to experience the things, the change in the Bria and the Malaretz Day and all that. That's the ignorant people, the Amei Haaretz. But Talmidei Chachamim will already be zeicha to that in the first stage. This is why it's in parentheses, because it's really not relevant to the content, to the text. Let's continue. He says, this idea of a change in the Bria, it's Bchinas Ha'elikus Shelemayla Ma'teva. What we're talking about is a level of godliness that transcends nature. You, us, Begilui, will be then, during the Mashiach's time, in a revealed way. Shalochein Yokoirin is Hashem Tiksavai. Briefly, there's something called a Kri and a Ksiv. There are some words in the Torah that they're written one way and they're read in another way. Kri uksiv. It's explained that pre-Mashiach we have two stages of revelation, either the written word or the spoken word. Kri and ksiv. What Mashiach will be, the pronunciation will be the written will be exactly as the pronunciation. They'll be one and the same. So now, Yud Kei Vav Kei, how do we say the tetragrammaton, the Yud Kei Vav Kei? We say Aleph Daled Nun Yud. We pronounce it Aleph Daled Nun Yud. Why? Because we're living still in Golus. We're not living in Mashiach's time. And the written Yud Kei Vav Kei is Aleph, we pronounce Aleph Daled Nun Yud. When Mashiach comes, the Gemara says, we will actually we'll say Yud Kei Vav Kei. This is what he says here. Shalochein Yokoirim is Hashem Tiksavai. Therefore, the name Hashem will be pronounced as it is written. Look, please, in note 40 for proper, good explanation. Numerous words in Torah are not pronounced as they are written. These words are known by two terms, Kri and Ktiv, and Ksiv. Kri refers to the manner in which the given word is read, while Ksiv refers to the manner how the word is spelled or written in the Torah. The name of Hashem, the Tetragrammaton, is composed of 4 letters. It is written Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. Its pronunciation in prayer, in davening, however, is Ad Nai. The Tetragrammaton's colloquial pronunciation is Havaya. The concept of Kri and Ksiv is pertinent only in our current era, before Mashiach's coming. For Kri, the manner in which the word is revealed by speech indicates the level of godliness presently revealed, while the Ksiv, that which is not pronounced, indicates the level of godliness that transcends nature and which is hidden. When Mashiach comes, however, the aspect of godliness presently hidden within creation will be manifest and revealed. Consequently, we'll pronounce the Tetragrammaton in the same manner as it is written, for godliness will be revealed and manifest within creation. Chaved, are you aware of this concept of Kri and Ksiv?
Yes.
Okay, so here, this note, I really, on your own, read it slowly. This note is the explanation of the inner meaning of Kriying Ksiv. In other words, you learn a piece of Gemara, it's going to speak about Kriying Ksiv in the Gemara. But it doesn't talk about the hidden level. Here, what we learn in Chasidus and what they bring in this note from different places in Chasidus, of course, is the deeper meaning to Kriying Ksiv. Anyway, going back to the text. Back to the text. When Mashiach will come, we will call Hashem by the name, the Havaya, as it's written, not as it's pronounced. For in the entire world there shall be. Top of page 39. Gilui P'chinas Shem Hashem, the revelation of the name of Hashem. Hoya, Hoive, V'yia Ke'echad, past, present, and future as one. That is Shelamayla Mizman Amokin. That transcends time and place. Bedugmas, similarly to Hagilui Shehoya Bebeis Hamikdash. What does this mean, Hillel? The revelation that wasn't the Beis Hamikdash? Hillel? Let's see if you're.
Oh, you're asking?
Yes, I am.
Because in the Beis Hamikdash they used the Shema Mefurash. Right? They could that level, that distinction, that concealment, that gap didn't exist.
Very good. Look at note 44. Kudos to you. In the times of the Beis Hamikdash, they pronounced the Tetragrammaton as it is written, exactly what Hillel said. However, continue the note, the revelation of the era of Mashiach will be even greater than the revelation that existed during the time that the Beis Hamikdash stood. For in the era of Mashiach, the name Havaya will be manifest throughout the entire world, and not limited as it was when the Beis Hamikdash stood to the Beis Hamikdash. Right? Moshe, in the time of Beis Hamikdash, where did you feel the highest revelation? When you were in the Beis Hamikdash. When you were in Ramat Bet Shemesh or in Brooklyn, guess what? It was the same. You didn't feel the Shem Hashem. Even though you're only half an hour away, too bad. Only, and even in Yerushalayim, you have to be in the Beis Hamikdash, Yonason. Find myself a room there, and I'll hang out in a motel on the ground, so I can go in and feel the Shem Hashem every day. Right?
In a mikveh.
In a mikveh. But and the accomplishment of Mashiach will be that level of revelation of Shem Hashem will be throughout the entire world, in Rwanda, in China, in Wuhan, and everywhere. With all the bats, there you feel Shem Hashem. This can be compared to the Likutei Torah, he quotes, discussing the superiority of the first Beis Hamikdash over the second. When the first Beis Hamikdash stood, the revelation of divinity pervaded throughout the borders of Yisrael. When the second Beis Hamikdash stood, divine revelation was limited to the Beis Hamikdash. When Mashiach comes, however, the infinite light will pervade the entire world. We'll stop over here, Chevra, and wish everyone a good day. And review the stuff. It's good material. And hatzlacha to everyone. Bye-bye. Shalom.
See you tomorrow.
Take care.